Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, I'm Ingram Jones, and welcome to another live show of Bayloric Worldwide TV. It's the Bayloric TV boxing channel. And first of all, hello to Chris Golding. Golding, I hope you're well, Chris. Always great to see you. The first man in, as always, and probably the last man out. Now, first big announcement is that we're back on the original channel, which is Bayloric. I'll go into explain about this first, so we wait for other people to join us. But the reason why we're back here now is that yesterday all the restriction I had on my YouTube channel. And first of all, hold on. Hello to Chris Golding. Okay, let's pause that there. Always seems to happen. That means the recording is live, which is good. So, as I was saying, the reason why I was unable to do the boxing videos for the length and the time was because I had been slightly suspended from YouTube because I uploaded Klitschko versus Pulev. I've seen a lot of people do it before, upload boxing videos, and wasn't nothing of it. But for some reason, HBO took special attention to my video and sent me basically I got a black mark against my YouTube channel and was therefore suspended from a lot of things, live events, could only do videos for 15 minutes. So that's the reason basically why I was unable to upload videos and do live events. So bearing in mind, this is the channel that has got 1 million views on it. This is the channel that's got over 4,000 subscribers on it. So it would have been typical. So why didn't they attack another channel? They use this channel. So it's just a pain. It was pain in the butt, but we're over it now. And once again, thank you for your support. Those people have supported the channel. This was the original channel, which has got 1 million views in it. I'm still shocked that we hit 1 million views. We actually hit 1 million views the day that Mayweather Pacquiao met for the first time at the press conference. So that's fantastic stuff. Right, so we've got that out of the way. Breaking news concerning a fight in the welterweight division. Keith, one-time Thurman, is back, but not on PBC. He's fighting on ESPN. And is he fighting one of the guys we want him to fight? No, he's fighting Luis Collazo. What? Keith, one-time Thurman, is fighting Luis Collazo? I would say that's a step backwards rather than a step forwards. That's like a step backwards. You just fought Robert Guerrero. Now you're going to go and fight Luis Collazo, who I can't beat. Why would you do that? What is going on? I don't know if Keith Thurman and Al Heyman are thinking to themselves, you know what? Stay busy, fight. Stay busy, fight. You fight, get yourself back. You got injured in your last fight quite badly. Let's get you in. Not a too tough fight against Collazo. You beat Collazo and move on. I don't know if has Collazo even actually been knocked out. Well, it's a good fight. Another southpaw for Keith to tackle. It's an okay fight. It's not the fight that people want to see, but don't worry. I'm sure Keith Thurman will be in those big fights we want to see. Other breaking news. This news isn't so breaking. It's the fact that GGG and Froch are supposedly going to fight. Negotiations are underway. Oh, we love a lot of rubbish, don't we? We do like to listen to a lot of rubbish. I don't believe for 1 second that GGG and Froch are seriously going to fight. This fight was going to be made. Think about it, boxing fans. This fight was actually going to be made. Why do you wait until almost a year later, when the man's had 2 his titles taken away from him? Why would you then take the fight now? Doesn't make any sense. I've said this 1,000 times, boxing fans, right? At the end of the day, GGG and his trainer, look to the trainer, Abel Sanchez, who's taken on GGG. Abel Sanchez had Terry Norris, and he did not let Terry Norris stay in that light middleweight division, right? I don't believe it is in the intention or the planning of Team GGG to move up to super middleweight now. No, I believe the plan is for GGG to clean up the middleweight division, clean up, fight Cotto, fight Canelo, and fight anybody else who wants to come up to middleweight. That's how I think that fight that goes with GGG. I don't believe that GGG moves up to super middleweight, especially after that last performance where his chin was out. He looked sloppy in the fight, you know, against a bigger, stronger Froch. Again, and what does he prove? Froch at the end of his career now. Why do people want to see that? I said the only reason why people really want to see Froch v GGG is because they know GGG can punch, and there's a possibility because GGG could walk through Froch and knock Froch out. I don't believe it somehow. He took 11 rounds to take care of Martin Murray, who was hitting him with the kitchen sink, and I don't think Martin Murray is the same league or class as Carl Froch. Sorry, but those are my thoughts. I'm sorry if that upsets you, but that's how I feel. Okay, enough of me talking. Let's see what people are saying so far. Of course, I know why you're here. You want to talk about Klitschko versus Fury. Of course, we're going to get into that shortly, but I've got to talk about world boxing. Of course, as well, James DeGale is going to be fighting Durrell. Good fight that, but I think DeGale's going to overwhelm Durrell, to be honest. But I could be wrong there. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Right, Jay, Chris Goulding says, the Fury story is a journey. I'm sure you all remember his debut on ITV4. Bayloric, as always, excels in heavyweight hitting content as you interview Team Fury on a number of occasions. As a side note, I hope Peter Fury is recovering well. He does give Tyson that 10% extra. He does. One last thing, the fight has split the pundits. The chaps in this corner are yet to be convinced, whereas Dwyer's tipped Fury for the upset. I can't wait. Okay, definitely want to tackle that. Of course, if you've got any comments you want to make about Fury versus Klitschko, this is time to mention it. Get it. It's in the YouTube. Put your comments in the YouTube section, and I'm prepared to tackle them all. Well, from what I understand, now don't quote me on this, but from what I understand, the fight has been signed for September at Wembley. Great stuff. Klitschko's prepared to come to Wembley to fight Tyson Fury. This is great stuff. What do you guys think about that? Well, my first concern is I hope that Peter Fury is well. I have not been able to make contact with Peter Fury. I've tried to ring him on a few occasions, but unfortunately I've not got through. But I'm of no surprise, really. The last three heavyweights. So you've had the Stavern fight twice, when Stavern fought against Ariola for the first time. Then Stavern fought again and won the world title. Then you had Stavern versus Wilder, and then you had Bryant Jennings. So in the last 4 of those heavyweight big showdowns, I've had contact with everyone who's been involved in the heavyweight division in that sort of situation, whether it be from Klitschko's camp, it's been James Elliott Bashir, assistant trainer to Klitschko, or on the other side, it's either been Bryant Jennings or Bermain Stavern, which is spoken to and found out what's going on behind the camp. I expect a similar thing to happen with Team Fury. I don't know. I could be speaking out of turn, but I don't expect that as much access because this is the big one. This is the big one for them. So I don't think I'll get as much access, although they're going to be in Ireland. So if they're in Ireland and I'm in Ireland, then, you know, there is no really no excuses to be able to get across and see how the big man is trading and how he's doing for his fight against Klitschko. So people are waiting for this big announcement. I think they'll get their announcement next week. Let's see if I've got any more. This is strange. I don't think anything else has come through at the moment, but 6 people watch. But let me just refresh this and see whether it's stuck, because sometimes it sticks. No, nobody's saying anything at the moment, so I'll keep talking. So, as Chris was saying, the fact about Peter Fury, I don't know how, you know, he was in hospital. I don't know how serious it was when he was in hospital, so I'm still trying to find out that information as well. He's better, but I don't know, again, because I haven't been able to make contact, so I don't know what the situation with this is, what the whole how that's going to affect Tyson in training, how much Peter Fury can and cannot do. I don't know, but that's going to be a serious blow because Peter Fury has held it together for the longest time for Team Fury. He really has been the backbone of Team Fury. You know, Tyson's dad is back in the camp, so that's good signs there, it's positive. But how much is that a body blow? And would Tyson's dad take over if Peter Fury wasn't able to do the training? Don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know that much information, so it's all speculation here. I don't know. You know, this fight has got people split right down the middle. I've posted videos about Klitschko Fury across Facebook, across social media. A lot of people are saying, oh, right, they want to know whether Fury is the real McCoy, whether Fury is really, you know, the man to beat Klitschko. You know, some people want to see Fury get knocked out. Some people want to see Fury win. Some people are fed up of Wladimir Klitschko, and some people want to see Wladimir get knocked out. So, you know, you've got haters again from both camps. You know, very few people saying we hope it's a good fight. They either want to see one get smashed or the other guy get smashed, which is, well, you know, I think, you know, this fight, the first thing people say when they talk about Wladimir Klitschko and Tyson Fury, the first thing they point to is, well, Fury, he's 6'9" and he's a big guy. That's the first thing they say. They don't say Tyson Fury, he's a big guy that's got skill, or big guy that's got talent, or big guy that's rangy, or big guy who's got a good jab, or a guy who can fight on the inside, or guys ambidextrous that can box south or orthodox. No, they don't say that. They'll tell you he's big and he's strong. So because he's tall and he's big, he'll beat Wladimir Klitschko. That's a huge disrespect to Wladimir Klitschko first, and a huge disrespect to Tyson Fury. A huge disrespect to Wladimir Klitschko because, first of all, he's beat Marius Vac, he's beat Tony Thompson, he's beat Ibragimov. Those are three guys that are tall heavyweights, tall, good heavyweights as well. Not bums, tall, good heavyweights. I believe Ibragimov was unbeaten. I believe Tony Thompson was ranked #2 in the world, and Vac had not been beaten, right? And if you remember the Vac fight, Vac caught Klitschko in about the 5th round. The legs did a bit of a silly dance, but Klitschko held on and he beat Vac. Now, I don't hear anybody in the heavyweight division and say, oh, Vac's a bum. Vac's a bum. Oh, he's a bum. How many people in the heavyweight division call out, I want to fight Marius Vac next? They don't. They don't. Because there's a danger of fighting Marius Vac. Marius Vac now, I believe, is being trained by James Ellis-Bashir. If you didn't already know, James Ellis-Bashir is working with Marius Vac. So Marius Vac is no bum. Let's get them straight here. Marius Vac is no bum. He's a good fighter. You know, people say, oh, well, it takes an hour for him to throw a punch to connect. He connected on Wladimir Klitschko, and I would say Wladimir Klitschko is pretty agile in his feet. He's got good hand speed, and good knockout power, and good boxing ability, and good boxing IQ. You know, so when again, we're going back to Tyson Fury now. When you're talking about Tyson Fury, and this is not my oh, you're sucking up to Tyson Fury. I'm just calling it as it is. Here's a guy who's unbeaten, right? Who has been knocked down in fights and has got back up to win. A guy who's you've seen him fight orthodox, you've seen him fight southpaw, you've seen him box inside and have an inside game. When he fought Derek Chisora, you see him fought well. For a big man, fights very well on the outside with uppercuts and hooks. You've seen him box beautifully on the outside, nullifying someone like Kevin Johnson. Big Kevin Johnson, convincingly, very convincingly. You saw him go southpaw against Mike Rogan. You saw him turn southpaw against Derek Chisora, and comfortably. He did those things against that level of position and did it very well. The big question people want to know is, can he do it against Wladimir Klitschko? Can he do it against Wladimir Klitschko? And the other question is, Klitschko has done what he's done against big men before. Vac was 2 or 3 inches taller than Wladimir Klitschko, and he was able to find the chin very easily. He was still able to use the jab. He was still able to use the right hand. So don't for 1 second believe because Tyson is big, he wins the fight. If he wins the fight, he wins it because of skill. He wins it because of heart. He wins it because of tenacity. He wins it because of boxing IQ, and he wins it because he's got big balls. Or he boxes to a game plan. But he certainly doesn't win it because he's big. Because, well, Vac is big. Okay, so I wanted to put that out there straight away and to dismiss people who say things like that, because I think when they say things like that, it's absolutely stupid. Oh, here we go. Woo! We've got some people in the house. Good evening. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go now. Chris Goulding says, we've seen Fury boxing very well on the back foot recently. How I think we'll see a different style versus Klitschko. How good is Klitschko on the back foot, and could we see Fury bulling forward? Good question. This is Justin Bilal, somebody new. Justin, good evening. That's your name, Bilal. I hope if I pronounce your name wrong, please let me know in the comment section. Justin, yeah, he has boxed one on the back foot. It's true. And definitely, I think we might see a different style against Klitschko. How good is Klitschko on the back foot? Well, I think you've seen Klitschko move forward. I think you've seen back. I've seen from side to side. Klitschko gives you lateral movement. He can come side to side. He can come straight on at you. So I think Klitschko's okay on the back foot. I think he's okay on the back foot. The question I want to ask is, how good is Klitschko on the inside on the back foot should be the better question. I'm sure it will sell 40 to 50,000, but it will fill out. It's a huge fight, but there's not the spite as we had from Froch versus Groves. No, there's not the spite, but you've got Fury's mouth. That's enough. So when Fury's mouth starts going off on Klitschko, depending on the British Boxing Board of Control now, because the British Boxing Board of Control have already told Fury about his mouth. So if he kicks off again and he opens his mouth again in front of the British Boxing, see, the British Boxing Board of Control could be a problem for this fight, and people not acknowledging that, because remember, Fury had that thing about him talking, because he was talking before to sell fights, and he said, look, I was selling fights, right, and doing things. The promoters put me up to say and do all these things. So Fury said, I'm not doing that anymore, because when I do that, I get myself in trouble and I get fined. The promoter doesn't pay for it. I pay for it. So is Fury going to be shooting off his mouth from the hip? Is he going to be doing things like that? Is he going to respond in that manner? And if so, when he sees Wladimir Klitschko, what's his psychological thoughts going to be like? Now, he's going to know that this is the best fight he's fought bar none. You know, what's he going to do? Is he still going to come out and call him a shithouse? Or is he going to say, it's a fight, you shithouse? Is he going to say those things? Or is he going to be, you know, you've been ducking me for years? Is he going to say that? Or is he going to be more respectful of Wladimir? Bearing in mind, the British Board of Control, Boxing Board of Control, will be looking at Fury seriously. Let's see what else we've got here. Ringtone Boxing, good evening and welcome. Klitschko is the solid, long-reigning champion who you know is going to win without breaking sweat, but would love Fury to win, benefits the sport. Of course, Ringtone Boxing, a lot of people want to see Fury win the fight because they think he's a personality. They think that he would bring more to the heavyweight division, you know, personality and all the rest of it. You know, entertaining. Of course, a fight between him and Deontay Wilder for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Wow, brilliant. You know, Fury waving a flag for Great Britain and for Ireland. Brilliant stuff. That'd be fantastic. That's if Fury can win. Cardiff lad, good evening. Good evening, Cardiff lad. What part of Cardiff are you from? I spent 2 years in Cardiff. I was trained as a professional with Barry Jones from Box Nation in the gym down in Ely. Let me know where you're from in Cardiff. I'd like to know. Justin Bilal says, I expect this to be the hardest fight of Klitschko's career. Really? Klitschko is so boring, but he does what he got to do. A bit like Mayweather in a way. I'm hoping Tyson wins, but it's a big ask. See, none of the tall heavyweights Vlad has fought can move anything like Fury. Good point. But I will ask you this question. They might not be able to move like Fury, but can Fury take a punch like them? That's the question. Good progression between Klitschko and Mayweather, both at the top of their respective division, but so often uninspiring. Yep, I think with geniuses, people that think a lot in boxing, this is what you get. Calculated. especially if you've been knocked out. Not so much, mate. If you've been knocked out before, I can't speak of being knocked out before, but if you've been knocked out before, I assume, um, you know, I guess as if you fall off your bike, you think yourself, well, if you fall off your bike, there's a possibility if you bruise yourself, you think, well, if I fall off the bike, that could happen again. So I may just be a bit more cautious when I get back on the bike. If you've been knocked out, there's a certain way that you fight. If you look at Lennox Lewis in his career, when he got knocked out, he became more cautious. And, you know, it was exciting, but still cautious because of Emmanuel Stewart. If you're going to blame anybody for Wladimir Klitschko's career and the way he's so cautious, look at Emmanuel Stewart and what he does to fighters when they've been knocked out. He told Klitschko to put his chin behind his shoulder and just jab and jab and jab and grab and hold and all that stuff. That's for Emmanuel Stewart. So you got to blame a little bit to Emmanuel Stewart there. I think it's a battle of the jabs. Let's be honest. It won't go. It'll probably go the distance. Really? You think? I don't think he's going to go the distance. I don't think he's going to go the distance because Fury's not going to stand around and hanging about trying to do what everybody else does. And if he does, he's going to copy it at the end from the fans. I think Fury's going to go out there and box. I think he'll try and take it to Klitschko as well. You know, and but he'll box smartly. He'll be smart. Interesting. I think as a huge payday and chance, Fury will be respectful and keep it zipped. Yeah, it might be an idea. But see, but if Fury keeps it zipped, promotionally, Vlad's not going to say a lot because Vlad doesn't trash talk. Fury doesn't talk. You're going to get a press conference that it's not going to be Tyson Fury. So you're asking Tyson Fury to be what he's not, which is just sit there and go, it'll be difficult. I don't know if that can happen. This is the biggest fight in Britain for a long time. I don't know. And okay, you talk about George Groves and Carl Froch. Carl Froch and George Groves, good. They had that for domestic and British, great. But you can't compare Carl Froch to now Wladimir Klitschko, a man who's had 20 plus defenses of the world title, has fought the best and is the best in the world in his division. Whereas Froch has been beaten by had already been beaten by Ward, and no matter what people tell me, he'll never beat Ward, never, because he's got no inside game. Vlad is a manufactured fighter in his own words. Fury loves to fight and was bred for it, literally. Yes. Good evening, Jerry Boy 3699. He's a fighting man. He always tells us he's a fighting man. That's fine to be a fighting man, but I think Fury himself admits now, you know, you can be a fighting man, but you got to be intelligent as well. You have to be intelligent. Remember, who has Fury fought in the whole of his career? Who has he fought that with one shot you could be on the canvas? One shot, one mistake, you're on the canvas, and has that sort of dynamic knockout power. The one man he's fighting now that who's going to do that against is Wladimir Klitschko. One shot, boom, lights out. And Fury, to this date, hasn't shown that real one punch, boom, knock you out power. He couldn't put away Cunningham early, and he was hitting Cunningham with the kitchen sink at times. So that's something we really need to think about here. Fury will have something amusing planned for the ring walk, you can be sure. Did anyone hear what he had planned for the ring walk versus David A? No, I didn't. Justin, please let us know. If Fury wins, he's going to be an international superstar, as Carl Froch would say. If Fury wins, wow. I think, you know, first and foremost, for the traveling community, that's going to be a huge thing. A traveling heavyweight champion of the world whose roots are in England and in Ireland. I think it's going to be a great thing. A great thing if Fury wins. If he wins. Yeah, I'm hoping Frank Warren might be able to make a few title fights for his stable, Liam Swiss, etc. Okay, I'll have to come back to that. Bruce Wayne, good evening, Bruce. How are we doing? Manshoot wanted to make Klitschko Lewis Mark II, but realized after the Brewster fight that Vlad doesn't have the mentality to set up as to be true. That's true, but I want to make a point about Wladimir Klitschko. At the beginning of Wladimir Klitschko's career, and I want you guys to watch this carefully and see if you're spotting what I'm seeing. Wladimir Klitschko was trying to do what Vitaly Klitschko was doing, which was blowing everybody out the water. You watch his career quickly. I mean, early on, Then he got stopped by what's his name? I can never forget the guy. Ross Purity got hit on the chin against Ross Purity, and then he had to revert. He had to go to what Manchester wanted of him, which is to change the style in which he had to be more conservative because he didn't have the chin for it. Okay. Now, if you watch carefully, Jonathan Banks and what he's doing with Wladimir Klitschko, I'm of the belief, and I love Bright Jennings, you know that already. I'm of the belief that the reason why Klitschko looked so bad in that fight was because of Jonathan Banks. If you listen to the instructions of Jonathan Banks in the corner, Jonathan Banks told Klitschko to box. Had that been a more experienced trainer, he may have said to, like Emmanuel Stewart, for example, Emmanuel Stewart might have said to him, go get him, go get him, go get him. And you saw what Emmanuel Stewart said to Klitschko against Eddie Chambers, where Klitschko was playing around with Chambers. He says, get out there and knock him out. So Klitschko went out for the 12th round, threw 3 left hooks, and Eddie Chambers got knocked out. So let's remember now that Banks being in the corner of Wladimir, is that a plus or a minus? People are not looking at things like that. Is that a key? Is that a minus? An inexperienced trainer, inexperienced in the fact that, well, Banks as a trainer hasn't really, let's be honest, proven anything. He's got a well-oiled champion who's just basically get him in shape, and get out there to fight. And then he tells Klitschko, just box him, just box him. Like he basically was trying to get Klitschko to box at the level of Jennings, rather than say, you're the heavyweight champion of the world, go take it to him, as Stewart would say. So more experienced eyes, Jennings may have got knocked out in that fight. Just for you to think about that. I'm from a place called St Mellons, outskirts of Cardiff. When you were Ely bound, did you bump into our ex-world champion Steve Robinson? I did indeed. In fact, I actually turned up sadly at the time where my trainer, his wife was just passed away when I arrived into Cardiff at the time, and there was some discrepancy between Steve Robinson and my trainer Ronnie Rush, who trained Steve Robinson at the time. So it wasn't really a great time. It was a bad time. I lived with my trainer morning, noon, and night, and there were some tough times. But I lived in Ely, I lived in Fairwater. I worked at the sports bar down in the docks. I then worked at a place, a Revolution, the nightclub there, and a club that I was a promoter for was a club called Berlin's, the sports bar I worked at. So I'd work at the sports bar, get a couple of hours sleep, go running in the morning, go back to work, in the gym in the afternoon, technical work for sparring. So I was going to get a pro contract, and I think my debut would have been at the Millennium Stadium. That's what they were trying to do. I was on the undercard. So that was what they're planning to do, but I got ill, and the rest is history. Manager was training Fury at one point. He was. But I believe the story was that Fury wanted to come back, and it was basically Peter that took him on afterwards, after Fury not looking great, and I think it was the pie chip fight. Fury winning the fight would be awesome for the heavyweight division. It's what the heavyweight division needs. Yeah, well, when Fury is champion, will people appreciate him being champion? That's the question. I think Fury is a more relaxed fighter than Vlad. He will be able to outwork him. He needs to be as good against Tevin Johnson. Then he will win. Yeah, that Fury performance, you've got to say, is the best I've seen of Fury. I can't even tell you that Derek Chisora fight was his best performance, because Derek Chisora looked like he just didn't want to know. It's like he just got in the ring and went, you know what, I can't bother to be here. So I can't readjust that fight. It's sad because Fury really he put everything together quite nicely, but Chisora put up next to no resistance. Let's see, one more comments. Okay, Craig Bleasdale. Craig, good evening. Nice to have you on. I have to say to you that if I've said your name wrong, I'm sorry. Fury's going to eat Vlad for dinner. He's super sexy. Right. Okay. No arguing with you. Chris Golding, Corey Sanders too. That was a whooping and a half. That was a catalyst for change. Yes, he was. He got well whooped. But Corey Sanders, let's not mistake it. Corey Sanders could punch. He could punch like a mule. He could punch like a mule. Corey Sanders knocked a lot of guys out. This guy is a world-rated puncher. So where Klitschko got knocked out by Brewster, stopped by Brewster, got stopped by Corey Sanders, those two guys could punch, genuinely could punch, proper knockout punches. Fury, to this day, is he a world-class heavyweight puncher? I know people saying he's going to go out and blow a Klitschko away, but is he a heavyweight puncher? He's a big guy, but does he punch correctly? I mean, he couldn't put away Steve Cunningham. Okay, Christian Hammer took him 8 rounds, and Christian Hammer was still be able to sit on a stool and feel sorry for himself. Vac knocked Christian Hammer out cold. Vac hit Klitschko on the chin, shook him up, couldn't finish him off. So is the thing about Klitschko's chin a bit overrated and saying that he's got a problem with his chin? Question mark. Don't know. Paraphrasing his words, Justin says, I'm going to get a bunch of steroids up meatheads carrying a throne on their backs with sheets put on over them. Then 4 bikini models looking like they're carrying me in. Right. Fury's a character. There's no doubt about it. He's what boxing needs, certainly British boxing needs, and we're missing so many characters. You know, people talk about Ben, Eubank, Watson. The reason why these guys were so good and you liked them is because they had personality. Today, and I'm sorry, I'm going off a little rant here, but I'm going to go mad. There's so many people who don't know nothing about boxing. They don't know nothing about boxing. They've never put a glove they've never put a glove on in boxing. They've never taken a punch in boxing, but they're PR agents. So they're trying to make these boxers into politicians. So you're not getting the working class, the real street, hard, tough characters these boxers are. You're trying to get all these boxers into being politicians and role models and all this rubbish. Why? They are boxers. What are you trying to polish them up for? Oh, we're going to try and make you speak more like this, and we're going to do this with you to make you seem more appealing. Leave people alone. Let them be the way they are. And that's why I love Fury, because he just says what he's got to say. He don't business. That's why I like Fury. So I just had to say that, because I cannot. It's just so annoying. And it's these people. It's people like this that are ruining the sport of boxing. And again, let me go back. Let's take it back a little further. Mayweather Pacquiao and the press conference. Why was that press conference so boring? Why was it so dull? Why was Mayweather not shooting his mouth off? Well, Mayweather says, "Oh well, because I've made to this level now, and I've made so much money. I didn't need to sell a fight." Crap. The reason why Mayweather didn't open his mouth is because there's so many sponsors that are on board, which would have been unhappy at the fact that Mayweather would have said something a bit controversial, or Mayweather's dad may have said something controversial, or it would have been a black eye for the sport of boxing. Oh crap. When Hay and Chisora kicked off in Germany, that's what sold the fight. That is what sold the fight. I don't care what anybody tells me. That sold the fight. The amount of hits that got on YouTube, it glassed me. That got so many hits on YouTube, got remixed. People loved it. It's just those people so hypocritical say, it's a very bad for boxing. It's a bad black eye for boxing. But notice you were sitting in the front seat, the same guy that said it's a black eye for boxing. You were there. You didn't boycott the fight, did you? You didn't stay at home, did you? No, your ass was front seat watching the fight. But it was a black eye for boxing. And you were taking money afterwards for that fight, weren't you? You were taking little money out of the kitty afterwards for that fight, weren't you? You had your little pay come afterwards. Why didn't you boycott it and give the money to some fighters that that may have been injured from the sport? Huh? Take that money and put it into a charity to support other boxers, huh? Or educating fighters. Why you do that? No, you won't do that. But of course, it's a black eye for boxing. Can't stand the hypocrisy in boxing. Okay, Ringtone Boxing says Banks always plays down his role with Vlad. They simply follow those routine Stewart set out for him. Why change a winning formula, I suppose? Well, I'll tell you why, Ringtone Boxing. You see, if you're following a plan, what happens if mid-flow of that fight, something happens that wasn't part of the plan? What do you do then? That's why you need to have an experienced trainer in the corner. You haven't seen it yet because, well, you did see it in the Jennings fight because you saw there the limitations of Jonathan Banks. Banks said, just box. Man Shoot would have said, go take it to him. Bashir might have said, go take it to him. Banks wanted to keep things safe because he knows if Vlad were to lose to Jennings, that's not a good look. Think about it. My thoughts is concerning Fury's condition. Could he gas later on? No, I think Fury's pretty conditioned. Justin says Fury's stamina is excellent. Lee J. Good evening, Lee. Good to see you. Good question. I don't think everyone will appreciate Fury's champion, but it certainly will make the division a lot more interesting. Yep, I think it will make the division more interesting. I thought Peter sorted the air conditioning in the gym last week, Chris. Okay. That was Hammer's 7th or 8th fight when he fought back. Yeah, okay. Don't make a difference. He still got knocked out. Vac still hit him on the chin with the right hand. Vac's a big puncher. He's a big puncher. Dangerous fighter. I really still think that Fury's punch at world level is still questionable. Here we go. Let's go up here. Let's see what we've got here. LOL, Chris says, he looked a lot better in recent years. Less flabby around the middle. Yeah, he has. Since Peter Fury's taken over, Fury's looked like more of an athlete. Fury said himself when I interviewed him, he said, look, you know what? I'd go out and have a few beers, shag some girls, and then go and have a fight. You know, he said he'd eat junk food and turn up to fight another fight. So really, Fury didn't take the fight game seriously, according to him in his interview that I did with him. So, you know, Peter Fury has made Fury more dedicated and far more professional. So we've got to give Peter Fury credit for that. And you saw, let's not forget, you saw how Fury looked without Peter Fury in the corner against Cunningham. And I keep saying it, boxing fans, that fight against Cunningham still remains in my mind. He wasn't able to knock Cunningham out early, which I thought he could have done. And the second thing was he got dropped by Steve Cunningham, who's not a big puncher. And you just think, if Cunningham can put you over, what's a right hand from Wladimir going to do? And it's not the first time. Remember, Pajek put Fury down as well. That there, can Fury absorb punishment? I don't believe Fury's just going to start walking in and hit Vlad. I'm sorry, but don't believe that. He's going to have to take something. Now, how much he takes is how long Wladimir is in the ring with him. If he can't knock Wladimir out and his best punch doesn't knock Wladimir out, what happens then? Bayloric and Room. What will Vlad's game plan be? Will he be more aggressive than usual against Fury? Yes. I believe Wladimir Klitschko will be aggressive against Fury, and he will watch that fight with Cunningham. He will look at that fight with Pajek, and he will know if he nails Fury right, the fight could be over early. That I'm not making things up. This is what you can see. Go back and look at the tapes. You got for Fury to beat Wladimir Klitschko, he's gonna have to take something. And I did an interview with Brian Jennings. If you go back and check the tape, Brian Jennings says, "So what do you think of the fight between Klitschko and Fury?" He goes, well, I was able to get close to Vlad because I could absorb what Vlad had and give something back. Can Fury take what Vlad has got? If Fury can take what Wladimir Klitschko's got, or he could prevent Wladimir Klitschko landing. Now, one of the ways that I believe Fury will fight Wladimir is to turn southpaw. But again, if you turn southpaw, you're still looking for a straight right hand down the pipe. You take away the looping right hand. Obviously, if you go southpaw, because it's hitting your this side of you, your shoulder against Chisora, because you're fighting a short opponent. Let me tell you something. Fury would be if Stavern was the heavyweight champion of the world today. if Bright Jennings was the heavyweight champion of the world today, I would have less doubts, because Fury, if you look at his career, is prepared to fight smaller men. 6'2", 6'3". Fury looks great. He could be a master of that. But now he's fighting a guy 6'7", who now can reach his own chin with a jab, who can still reach him with a right hand. And whereas you can tie it, just like you say, oh, well, you know, Vlad can't tie up, Fury won't be able to tie up either. Remember this. What are your thoughts about Tyson's mobile number being posted on Twitter? What a character boxer would be without, yeah, exactly. It's quite funny, quite ingenious. I think, I don't know what Tyson thinks of it, but I guess, you know what, it could have G'd him up. You don't know what was going on behind the scenes. You don't know if Tyson was a bit depressed or a bit down. You know, we don't know about the garbage that goes on behind closed doors with Klitschko, but, you know, I've heard so many stories about Klitschko, and these are from fighters themselves, of the negotiations with Klitschko and the sort of rubbish that can go through dealing with Klitschko, that, you know, who knows what's going through Tyson's mind. But I think it was a good thing, though. It's quite cool, actually. In terms of image and one for another day, Joshua is probably a bit of a lad in real life rather than the polished PR-friendly person that we see. Yes, I've said it, as you know, Chris, I've said it many times. I believe Joshua is a street man. That's what he is. And that eventually is going to come out. I'm not sure about, again, I'll repeat this again. I keep repeating myself, but the more people are watching this, so who may not have heard what I said, I believe Joshua is a street man. I believe that Joshua, I've never met him, but I also believe that Joshua and his relationship with Eddie Hearn, I'm not sure what that relationship is like, but I suspect there's some tension there. Eddie Hearn wants Joshua to go one way and be one way, and Joshua may want to be another way. For those who don't know my thoughts about Joshua, very quickly, I don't rate his trainer, no disrespect, but if he's going to be heavyweight champion of the world, I want to see with a trainer that knows how to train heavyweights and has secured a heavyweight world title. A Bashir, maybe a Tommy Brooks, you know, Ronnie Shields. Let me see you train with somebody, your Buddy McGirt. Let me see you train with somebody who's got real experience at heavyweight level. You know, that's the first thing. That's one of my concerns there. I'm not convinced whether Joshua is actually improving as a fighter, but we'll see. I could be wrong about that. And I think they're making Joshua. I don't see Lennox Lewis in Joshua. I see Frank Bruner in Joshua. I've a lot of Frank Bruner in Joshua. Joshua's a little faster. He's got better footwork. We don't know what his stamina is like. We don't know what his chin is like. But if you look at Bruno, he got fed a load of guys that couldn't fight back, and then he got exposed when he fought a guy who could fight back. And to end this thing, oh well, Joshua, you know, you should be rushing him. You know, you should be rushing. Rubbish. Lennox Lewis, heavyweight champion of the world, was Olympic gold medalist in his 14th or 15th fight. He fought, remember, Gary Mason. Mason, 35-0, ranked number 4 by WBC. Mason was on the verge of getting a world title shot against George Foreman, if you remember. I remember this very well. By that time, Lennox Lewis was already the European champion, gold medalist. People will say, okay, then Joshua, you know, he hasn't fought as long in the amateurs. He didn't get as much of a career in the amateurs as Lennox Lewis. In that case, take him off top of the bill. Let him fight in undercards and stop boosting this man up on documentaries when he's done nothing as a pro. Sorry. And don't try and tell me that Joshua's a phenomenal knockout puncher. If you want to talk about a phenomenal knockout puncher, look at Wilder. When Wilder hits you, you stay hit. When Joshua hits you, you fall on the floor, you get up, you can wave to the crowd afterwards and smile. That's not, for me, a real big knockout puncher. He hits hard, but he's a heavyweight. But is he a big heavyweight puncher? Tyson's a big heavyweight puncher. George Foreman's a big heavyweight puncher. Deontay Wilder's a big heavyweight puncher. Steve Vern's a big heavyweight puncher. You know, Joshua is a big guy with lots of muscles, but is he a world-class puncher? A world-class puncher would have had Gavin flat out on the canvas like that. He would have had Love flat out on the canvas, out cold. Look at how Wilder demolished Lajkovic. Demolished Lajkovic. And even when he hit Stavern, who's got a decent chin, he had Stavern wobbling all over the place in that fight. So this is what I'm saying. Devastating punch power. Joshua is not a devastating punch. He hasn't got devastating punch power. He's a good puncher, not devastating. And that's something that a lot of people are not looking at. Oh, here we go. 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 Dillian Whyte will wind AJ up like a treat when they do fight. Yes, I do believe he will do. AJ does have a nice streak in him. Yeah, you can have a nasty streak. You can have a nasty streak against a guy who's not going to hit you back. But you have a nasty streak and you can't control your temper. That means, guess what? You can get yourself mad. You can fight with tension, and all the muscles in your body, they build up. And of course, Joshua looks like a bodybuilder, so lactic acid will get in. Nobody knows what Joshua's like in round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lactic acid builds up in the body, and when that gets tight, the more oxygen is needed to those parts of your body. What does Joshua do then? And he's getting hit back. What happens? Nobody knows that. Why is under his skin already? Question is, how can AJ handle it? I don't think he does. What has happened to Eddie Chambers? Last I heard about it is Eddie Chambers. Should I say this? Should I say this? As far as I was concerned, from what I hear, Eddie Chambers was not going to be boxing again. That's what I heard. Then the other story I heard was Eddie Chambers was meant to fight Ustinov. Negotiations didn't go very well. Eddie Chambers is now looking to start a family, so I understand. So I don't think boxing is on the highest of his agendas at the moment, but he's back in the USA. So that's what's happened to Eddie Chambers. Great question. I like Eddie. Fast Eddie always comes across well when interviewed. You are talking about Eddie Chambers, right? Chris, you're not talking about Eddie Hearn, right? Justin says, Fury has enough power where you to have respect. And with his work rate, accumulation of punches gets too much for most. With his great movement and punch, much improved defense, can he outbox Vlad? Justin, let me ask you a question here. I made a video about this beforehand. I know people talking about, he has enough power and he's got work rate. But again, too, this fight, Fury makes one mistake. He'll end up on the canvas. He might not get up. One mistake. You're not getting it. When you're boxing against guys, you can get the jab and you can move around. And you've got the range and you can hold them at arm's length. That's fantastic because you're in your comfort zone. What does Fury look like when he's not in his comfort zone? How does he deal with somebody hitting him on the chin regularly, often on the chin? Who has got dynamite power? Who's Fury facing his career? What fight has Tyson Fury fought a guy who's got one punch knockout power and is the same height as him? And as an Olympic gold medalist. And has had 20 defenses. People talked about Bright Jones. Oh, he's inexperienced. He's inexperienced. Well, where's Fury's experience? Where's Fury's experience? His experience is a guy 6'2", 6'3". Where's the experience fighting a tall heavyweight? Oh, that guy Namasco? Was it the Brazilian? Or I don't know. Who can you say? At least I can say to you, well, at least Fury's fought, Klitschko's fought, Thompson, he's fought Vac. That's 2 tall guys already. 2 top class, fit, in shape, tall guys. And they're not bad boxers. And Vac has a tremendous chin. So will Fury be able to have that same work rate? Will he be able to box when getting hit with right hands? Will he be able to block the right hand? How will he cope with the first right hand that hits him in the chin and stiffen his legs? How does he respond to that? Can he absorb? How much punishment can Tyson Fury absorb? Because make no bones about it, he's gonna have to take something in his fight. And if you look at the Cunningham fight and you look at the fight with Pychek, when he gets hit on the chin, he goes to war. Is that going to be the best thing against Klitschko? Because when you get hit on the chin and you get buzzed, you know, Peter Free can tell Tyson what he wants to box their game plan. You can box the game plan all you want. When you get hit on the chin, you revert back to, I'm a fighting man. And he'll be a fighting man. He'll take the fight to Klitschko. That is what I'm talking about. Can he hold together at that level? Is he ready for that? Has he been prepared to fight for the world title against a big man like Klitschko? That's the question, boxing fans. Cunningham would never put over the defensive-minded Fury today. Vlad will not be facing that version of Fury. Right. But people think that version of Fury, Justin, is the version that needs to beat Wladimir Klitschko. This defensive version of so basically you're looking at two defensive fighters. That's what you're telling me. Then it really would be a boring fight, right? Because who's going to commit first? Klitschko may end up being the exciting fighter. There we go. Cardiff Lad says, yeah, mate, he may not have AJ's punch power, but his other attributes make him dangerous. The last two he's made quit on the stool. Do you really need that one punch knockout power at world-class level? I doubt it. You doubt it? I would. Well, maybe. Let's see, guys, at the heavyweight division who's not had big knockout punch power. Even Evander Holyfield, the real deal, punch. People say, oh, he couldn't punch, he was a cruiserweight. He dropped Riddick Bowe, and not many people dropped Riddick Bowe. I mean, he had Bowe out on his feet. If you look at the third fight, he rocked Bowe in the second fight. I believe you do need a punch in the heavyweight division. I think it's crucial because you need something to keep somebody off you. And I believe you do need to be a world-class puncher. And that's why Klitschko is so good, because he's got that world-class punch power as well. Do you need knockout power if you can throw 60 relaxed punches in a round? I bet his arms weigh a ton as well. You're talking about Joshua. Tyson will give Vlad plenty of movement, never allowing him to set his feet to throw bombs. Vlad is not effective against good movers. Yes, good movers that are 6'2", 6'3". Fury is an okay mover, but he's not. I wouldn't say he's the lightest on his feet. And while you're doing all that nervous moving around, you're going to get hit with something. At some point, Fury's going to have to stand. Unless you're saying that Fury's next coming to Muhammad Ali. I'm not so sure about that. They'll give him movement. Oh, yeah. Movement takes a lot of power off his shots. Fury has the tools to make it look easy, like Williamson did back when Vlad was younger. Okay. Yes, I was 15 at the time, really wanted Mason to win. I really sad to hear of his passing. Yeah, that passing of Gary Mason devastated me. I have a tape of Gary Mason's fights when he fought, Jess Harding was his first fight, and Barry Hearn was his manager back then. Yeah, Jess Harding. Then he fought, I can't remember. Then I think he fought Tyrell Biggs, Mark Willis, Everett Bigfoot Martin, and then I think he fought Lennox Lewis, got injured. I think he took too much weight off, came back. Actually, in his comeback in America, he looked really good in his comeback in America. And then, of course, the retina of the eye went again, and that was the end of Mason's career. Yeah, Mason was a good fighter. Yeah, Wilder could knock Gavin out, clean himself. Yeah, that's true. That's a good fight. That's a good point. And Gavin was out of shape. So yeah, that's a valid point there, Bruce. That's a very valid point. That's because Gavin doesn't actually fight. Well, good comeback there, Jerry. He just survives, then falls over. Okay. Vlad isn't really a big punch. He just jabs the life out of people. Then they're ready to fall over. How many times have we been like, just fucking finishing, Vlad, you're boring, safety first, swine. Okay, right. Eddie Chambers, when he went out there, Manny Stewart told him, get out there and stop him. Went out there for the 3 left hooks and put Eddie Chambers out. I mean, put his lights out. Vlad, when he fought Calvin Brock, wow, that knockout right hand. Vlad versus Pulev. Shall we continue? Vlad versus Pulev, and that was destructive. Vlad versus Leopai. Vlad versus Pionetta. Vlad versus Vac. Let me ask you a question, guys. Does Fury have a chin as good as Marius Vac? Does he have a chin as good as Tony Thompson? Does he have a chin as good as Chambers? Because he's going to need that against Fury, against Klitschko for sure. Okay, we're all talking about Fury, Klitschko. Let me ask you a question. Give me your predictions. Who do you think is going to win the fight? I believe the fight will get announced next week. Let's wait and see about the big fight announcement. Okay, while you guys are thinking about that and probably catching up on what I'm saying, let's talk about this weekend's fight, of course, DeGale versus Dirrell. I'm going with DeGale on this one. Simple reason is mentality. I think when the chips have been down, Dirrell has not showed up in fights, and I believe that Dirrell, I think DeGale's going to come out and look spectacular. I think he's going to put it on Dirrell early, and he's going to test Dirrell early to see if Dirrell fights back. We've got to fight, because if Dirrell shows some resistance, we have a real fight here. And I'm talking about a boxing match. I'm talking about a real fight, because I believe DeGale is banking on the fact that Dirrell is mentally weak. Fight fans, for those of you who were late to the show, 17 watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Breaking news, and this really is breaking news. Keith, one-time Thurman, is back July 11th on ESPN versus Luis Clancy. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know if that's going to go down too well with boxing fans. Well, I guess, you know, it kind of settles in with also Khan versus Algerian, Brook versus Gavin, but I still think Gavin puts on a good fight now. I'm tipping Gavin for the unanimous the majority point decision, but who knows? I would love to see Fury win the fight, but I have a feeling Vlad's going to pull it off. Vlad by stoppage. Yeah. But I agree, Brian. I think Fury will also win. DeGale on top of his game, but seems to have grown up a lot recently. Not sure I've given a prediction on the Selby Vojanovic. I may have been biased, but surely Selby gonna outclass this guy. Yeah, listen, I know how you Welsh boys train, and I'm going with Selby by it's gonna be like the night Joe Kawasaki fought Jeff Lacey. I think it's gonna be like that. That sort of performance I'm expecting from Lee Selby. I mean, expecting, because Granovich, he just does this. He does that. He walks you to the ropes and just starts throwing punches. Granovich cannot box like Lee Selby. My only concern with Lee Selby is when Lee Selby's boxing, you see Lee Selby doing all this stuff. He does the cardinal #1 sin you don't do well boxing, is you pull straight out of your chin in the air. You pull straight out of your chin in the air, or something like Granovich, there's always a possibility that Granovich can come from that crab style and boom. And that could be in a Selby. It's my only concern. So when Selby when Selby's throwing his combinations, he's got to throw his combinations and slip to the sides. Slip to the sides. He cannot pull straight back. Throw your combinations, hold if you need to. Throw your combinations, slip to the sides. Do not throw your combinations and pull straight out. Granovich is going to throw the left hook or the right hand over the top. Very good with that. Over the top. Selby needs to be careful of that punch. Very careful. I think DeGale gets KO. Also, Fury to beat Vlad. Not sure how. This fight is close in my opinion. When you talk about Fury versus Vlad, I'll always ask you guys, Fury has good reach. He hasn't done it at the highest level. Can he do it at the highest level against a former gold medal Olympic champion? Can he do it? Fury's good. How good? We have to wait and see. You know, I do notice a pattern. I've watched fighters and their fan base. Do I know if okay, I'll come back to this GGG thing in a minute. Fighters and their fans are all for them. They're all for them until the big one. They're like, oh yeah, you know, you'll beat this person, you'll beat that person, you'll smash this person, you'll smash this person, you're gonna destroy this person, and you'll see them in the forums. They'll do this, you'll do that, and then come the big fight when they're fighting for the world title. Like, oh, they might win, but I'm not so sure. And you know, like I said, I would like to see Fury. And the other thing, before I finish with the Fury and Klitschko, do you know who I think that Klitschko might bring as a sparring partner against Fury? The two people he could use: David Price and Vitaly Klitschko. Because you know Vitaly's 6'7", right? I know Tyson's 6'9". Tyson's gonna have to fight down again. Klitschko's been fighting up. Klitschko's fight against taller men. Just a thought. Vitaly Klitschko, Wladimir Klitschko. Wouldn't you love to see that sparring session? That's the closest you get to two guys fighting. The two guys fighting, and also David Price, Klitschko. I would have David Price as a sparring partner. I would also have David Price for Tyson Fury as a sparring partner, because that's the gut. For me, David Price would have been the perfect preparation to fight Vladimir Klitschko. Do you know why? Because at least we would have seen how Fury does against a guy who can punch, a guy that's just similar in height and stature, a guy who's fought in the Olympics. And everyone's like, oh, this guy Price is a bum. How can you say he's a bum? He got beat by the #2 heavyweight in the world, which is Tony Thompson. You basically saying Tony Thompson's a bum. Tony Thompson's not a bum. Tony Thompson's a top fighter, and you don't hear all the top fighters in the world calling out Tony Thompson and taking fights against Tony Thompson. That's not a bum. That's a seasoned veteran. And remember, I had made a prediction that I believe Price was always susceptible against southpaws. I think it's a style thing with Price. And Price is chinny. He can't take a shot. From what I remember, Price was getting hit with quite a few shots, and it was mental fatigue rather than anything else. You know, he got stopped the first fight by getting hit by the eardrum, but I don't even know what Price's training is like. I think he may have gone back to his old trainer, but I certainly think that Price is now learning how to fight. Now he's learning how to be a heavyweight now, and taking the fights necessary to become a world champion. This is what will happen with Anthony Joshua should he get knocked out on the way up, because he's not learning anything. These fights, knocking people out and not learning how to fight or how to box under pressure, that's what it's about. Price is doing that. Price, I still back. People say crazily. I still back him because he has got one punch knockout power, and I believe he still has got some boxing skills. Nobody's going to walk out there and just hit Price and it should knock him out. Price has got real power. And the fact now that he has been knocked out, and the fact that he's been beaten, now he's got the time to learn his trade properly without that zero on his back. Learn properly without the pressure of his fans and get out there and do a good job. Fury could use Joshua. I think he would be best. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, how could Joshua be best? Joshua, who's Joshua for? Joshua's a big puncher. Yeah. Joshua can't box anything like Wladimir. Joshua's not going to give Fury the angles or the experience. I think Vak's a good sparring partner, because Vak takes a great shot. Vak can throw a punch of his own. I think that Price is a good, because with Price you make one mistake, again you could get chinned. A good puncher. He's getting sparred with cousin Fury. Who's going to be in a big fight shortly? Yeah. No. I've heard this debate over and over and over again. No. Gonna close it down to you right now. Fury is not Wladimir Klitschko. He doesn't punch like Wladimir Klitschko. I know he's trying to box like Wladimir Klitschko. He's not Wladimir Klitschko. He doesn't have the experience of Wladimir Klitschko. You see, when you're sparring, when you're in the ring sparring with somebody who's experienced, like Wladimir is, he can see openings. He takes a few seconds and sees openings and exploit your openings, right? That's when you're an experienced fighter. It's like, for example, you know, if you were to look at Ali when he started his career, and then look at Ali closer to the end of his career, he would know what he would see things differently. I don't think you see differently because you've got more experience, and I don't think that Hughie Fury at this point in his career has got the experience of Vlad has. No chance. 20 world title defenses, different types of styles, different types of environments. So for Klitschko, he's seen it all, quite literally. For Fury now, he's sparring against the other Fury, which is his cousin. He's sparred with Fury over and over and over and over and over again. So there's an element of familiarity there. Plus, Hugh Fury is inexperienced in comparison to Wladimir Klitschko. So no. And again, no, Hugh Fury is not the best sparring partner for Tyson Fury against Vlad. I don't agree. Tyler Klitschko would be a good sparring partner for Tyson Fury, eh? Be good. Price has the power and the ability, but he's mentally weak. I don't know. Is he mentally weak? He's coming back after getting knocked out by Tony Thompson. I don't think Frank Maloney did him any favors. I'll leave it as that. I would like to get a few of those Eastern European amateur machines like Magnovich. Okay, yeah, I would too. I think they'd be good. Listen to what Mark Breeden said about Vlad recently. Yeah, he said, Brian Murphy, good evening, Brian. Without his holding a stiff arming, he is very beatable. He had a legal clinch. If he has trouble with average guys like Jennings, he's also too weak mentally to leave his comfort zone. Good points, Brian. Good points. But I mean, he says very average and very beatable. Yeah, the right hand. The right hand. You cannot dismiss a man that can put you out with one shot, and that's what Wladimir Klitschko has. One mistake. Tyson Fury is doing all the stuff brilliantly, boxing to a game plan, dominating the fight, and one right hand, boom. Got dropped by Cunningham, got dropped by Pychik. These are my concerns. Can he take a Wladimir Klitschko right hand clean? Can he? According to James Ali Bashir, any guys over 6'5" have got a chin problem. That's what James Ali Bashir is. He says Vitaly is a freak of nature, but generally they don't have great chins. I think we will see Vlad gassed after 5 or 6. Nah, I don't think Vlad gets gassed. For Vlad to get gassed, you're going to have to push him. And for you to push him, you keep forgetting, Bright Jennings took some great shots. He was smaller than Wladimir Klitschko. He's able to get inside of Wladimir Klitschko. He had movement. He was an intelligent fighter, Philly style. Fury's different. He's taller. There's more of him to hit. So he can't make himself small. Fury can't make himself small. There's all of him to hit. Wladimir Klitschko, for the whole 3 minutes of round 1 against Pulev, rewatch it. 3 minutes of hold. If he tries that with Fury, he's gone. Yeah. Yeah, go rewind the tape, Brian. And you see that Pulev rocked Vlad in the first round. And then what happened to Pulev in the first round? That's my point. You make a mistake against Vlad, you're in trouble. Pulev, let's look at Pulev before he fought Vlad. And he was like the most feared man in the heavyweight division. Don't try telling me you didn't believe that, because nobody wanted to fight Pulev. Pulev was like, you know, Drago. We were like, no, it's not fight Pulev. Pulev's bad. Pulev's wicked. We're all talking now Pulev like he's a bum now because Vlad did a number on him. Pulev was ranked the number 2 heavyweight in the world. A lot of people thought Pulev could do the business. Everyone gets wise after the event and says, oh yeah, well, Pulev was a bum, and Pulev, he was open to the left hook, and blah, 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 blah. If he was so open to the left hook, how comes all these challenges, all the guys in the top 10 avoiding fighting Pulev? If it was the case, right? Pulev got greedy, made a mistake, got hit with a right hand or left hook. The thing is, up to the point, if you look at Pulev's career, he was doing what Daly wanted and looked quite good. Then he got hit back by someone who could punch, and that is where it began and ended. The fight could be over. Could be over all in all of one round, because if Klitschko lands and buckles Tyson Fury's legs early, and Fury can't recover, there's a problem there, and vice versa. So it's a great fight. In terms of the future, if Vlad comes through this, a fight with Wilder perhaps is 40 soon and has nothing more to prove. Yeah, I think so. Jennings didn't take the match. He was moving and being evasive. Fury is more effective than Jennings fighting like that. Yeah, and he's more likely to get knocked out that way as well. He's more likely to. You see, if you're going to remember, the reason why Jennings didn't get knocked out, the reason why Hay didn't get knocked out, the reason why these guys didn't get knocked out is because they were defensively responsible. They did not put themselves in a position to get themselves knocked out. Fury, if he gets hit on the chin, will revert back to what he does, which is have a brawl, which means he will be in the zone of get knocked out because he's coming to fight. He's bringing it to Vlad. That is the problem. Yes, but Pulev moved like a Frankenstein monster. He did move like a Frankenstein monster. Once he got hit in the chin with a right hand. I've never seen Pulev move like that in my life. I was shocked because I was one of those guys who backed Pulev to beat Vlad. Because I thought the jab was good. It would have reached Vlad with the jab, caught him with the right hand. And in the first round, I thought, oh, we got a good fight here. Left jab, wobbled Vlad. And the next minute, Pulev was on the canvas. So if he decides to bring the fight to Klitschko, remember, there's a danger of getting hit on the chin and getting hurt. You bring the fight, say, oh yeah, well, Fury's more offensive. That right hand, people, that right hand. And the left hook. How many of those right hands will Fury be able to take? How many of those left hooks will Fury be able to take? Who do you think will make it as world champion? Fury, Price, AJ, or none of them? Price, the best thing that happened to him was getting knocked out by Tony Thompson, because he now knows he's not invincible. He now knows that he can be beat, can be stopped, and now he has to go back to the drawing board and learn. Tyson Fury is yet to be knocked out or stopped in a fight, and there's no reason to change because you're unbeaten. So Fury could be the first one to win the World Heavyweight Championship because he's the next one in line. Who knows? AJ, fundamental changes need to be made before he's got to fight somebody. I've got to see AJ fight somebody who hits him back on the chin and has a fight and isn't scared of him and isn't coming in for the paycheck. He's actually coming to have a fight, and that's not Kevin Johnson. Sorry. So Price, if Fury doesn't beat Klitschko, then my back money's on Price before AJ, obviously. Offside a bit. What's the news on David Hayes' comeback now? And now his checks are bouncing. I don't know about the comeback of David Hay. You've got to ask yourself, boxing fans, whether David Hay fancies it. He wants to be in the ring anymore. I don't know. I can't see about David Hay. Yeah, Zach just mentioned it. Does David Hay have the desire to get punched in the face? I wonder. He could still make him in with commercial endorsements. Yeah, he could be. I mean, if you remember, if you look back, David Hay, when he was running up the stairs, let's take our minds back a bit. When he was running up the stairs against Wladimir, and he was like, I'm the main man. I'm the main man. Fight the main man. Why are you ducking me? Well, he kept calling Wladimir out. Then he got his moment to fight Wladimir Klitschko. We all know what happened. He got hit with a right hand in the first round, and then it all went pear-shaped or toe-shaped. Yeah? His toe, for some of you had a broken toe, He moved pretty quick around that ring for 12 rounds. To me, he got hit with the right hand, and he thought, you know what? I'm shutting up shop because I'm going to get knocked out tonight, and I don't want to get knocked out. So you know what? I'm going to try and throw punches from long range, but I am not engaging, because if I engage, I'm getting knocked out. That's the problem. All these people say, oh yeah, Fury can run out there and blast him. Fury gets hit in the chin. If Fury runs out there and tries to knock flat out, you'll end up on the canvas faster than you can say 1, 2, 3. Because Vlad's going to start to think, okay, Tyson, just run out and hit me on the chin. Name me one fighter who's just run out and hit Vlad on the chin. You say Corey Sanders, southpaw, big puncher. Don't know, can Fury do it? Is Vlad aging? Is there an opportunity for Vlad here to age? He's almost 40. I mean, Fury must stand a chance there. Yeah, he could go back to the jungle, David Haye. I think David Haye's become a laughing stock, and people don't really take him seriously anymore. If I were David Haye, I'd stop doing interviews. I would stop, put myself in the eye of the public until I made a serious decision as to what I'm doing. I mean, let's be honest. David Haye could sign with Al Heyman in a heartbeat, but there's a problem. If David Haye decides to sign with Al Heyman in a heartbeat, Al Heyman may put him in some tricky fights. If he signed with Al Heyman, he could fight Deontay Wilder. It's not like Al Heyman would have a problem putting Heyman with Deontay Wilder. But let's go back a bit. I said this before. Did Haye get knocked out by Deontay Wilder in sparring? I said this, and I got slammed for it. And I said that Haye would never fight Fury. I said it, and people slammed me for it. So, in closing, guys, I'll say this much. The heavyweight division would be better if Haye was back, but we want Haye fully, with all guns blazing, with a lot of passion. Or otherwise, don't come back in the ring. Perez versus Povetkin to close. It's a big fight. It's a good fight. But I'm going to go with the man who is consistent at this level, who is, I think, the technically better boxer at this level, and hasn't got Adam Booth in his corner, because I don't rate Adam Booth. I said it before. The worst thing that he had, Perez could have done, is gone to Adam Booth. Calm down, relax, it's cool, it's okay, relax. You're losing the fight, but I'm going to tell you to relax and be cool, okay? And then aggressive. Go attack him. What? So Adam Booth was the worst thing that could happen with Perez. Now Perez has got another trainer. He's gone to the Garcias, I believe. What the hell do they know about training heavyweight boxers? Garcias, I mean, they could train fight in straight lines. That's great. Against Povetkin? Perez will be careful he don't get himself knocked out, because Jennings hurt Perez, remember? And he hurt him in the fight. So for me, I'm going Povetkin to win the fight. Late stoppage, unanimous decision. Do you think there's a chance that the fight will fall through? Vlad is aging and the fight is a risk. No. Next week, I think the fight's going to be announced. I believe the fight will go ahead. Fury against Klitschko. It's going to happen. There's no doubt. I think it's going to happen. It's got to happen. So, okay, guys, it's great to be back on Bayloric. Thank you so much for supporting. Rate, subscribe, leave your comments. And, yeah, thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Brian Murphy. Garcia won't even be with Perez in Russia. Yeah, Perez is going to get beat bad. Povetkin, definitely. Thank you to Bruce Wayne, Brian Murphy, Chris Golding, Cardiff Lad, Lee, Jay, Justin, Jerry Boy, Cardiff Lad. Thank you all, Mr. GG, Mr. God One, Ringtone Boxing. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Appreciate you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching, and have a great boxing weekend. Will James DeGale become the next super middleweight champion of the world? I believe he will, and I believe he's going to be doing it and doing it well. This has been Ingram Johnson of Bayloric TV. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Take care.